There's a myth that one bad car can't kill a car company, but history says otherwise. Some cars didn't just flop, they took the whole brand down with them. Today we're talking about the biggest automotive assassins in history, the cars that killed their companies. Let's go! Listen, I'm sorry I had to stop the intro because I wanted to tell you I say Studebaker in this video instead of Studebaker. I know, I'm sorry, I'm working on it. Car names are hard, alright? Back to the intro, I'm sorry. Alright, we all knew this one was coming, the Pontiac Aztek.
What in the hell is this?
It's the car that looks like someone hit randomize in a car design simulator, and Pontiac was so confident with it. They said it would redefine the segment. Well, they weren't wrong, it redefined how terrible a car could be. Released in 2001, the Aztek had the bones of a good idea. A lifestyle-focused crossover with a tent, a cooler between the seats, and even optimal all-wheel drive. I mean, it sounds great in theory, but that design, yikes! Even GM executives admitted it was ugly before it launched. And when your own design team is apologizing, that's normally not a good sign. Sales flopped hard, and while the Aztek didn't single-handedly kill Pontiac, it definitely destroyed its reputation. The brand never really recovered, and by 2010, Pontiac was gone. If you want to know more about Pontiac, check out my video on the history of Pontiac. You know it, you love it, the DeLorean DMC-12. It had gull-wing doors, a stainless steel body, and movie star looks, and zero reliability. The car was supposed to be the next big thing. John DeLorean, former GM executive, wanted to build a futuristic, affordable sports car, but delays, design compromises, and severely underpowered Pinot Regault Volvo V6 turned it into a slow, expensive disappointment. I forget how to pronounce. Is it Peugeot? Is it Peugeot? Peugeot? I don't know. Peugeot. Yeah, that's what we're gonna go with. Worse, DeLorean's finances were a mess, and in a last-ditch effort, he got caught in a sting operation trying to traffic cocaine. I'm serious. It's like if Elon Musk tried to fund Tesla by selling meth. Only 9,000 DMC-12s were ever built, and even though Back to the Future made a pop culture icon, by that point, the company was already 6 feet under. Next up, the Bricklin SV1. This was supposed to be Canada's Corvette, but it ended up being more like Canada's Fire Festival. The SV1, short for Safety Vehicle 1, launched in 1974. It had gull-wing doors, a fiberglass body, and a focus on crash protection. Malcolm Bricklin, the guy behind it, hyped it like crazy. He said it'd be the safest, the coolest, and most innovative sports car on the market, but they rushed it. The doors didn't work, the panels warped in the sun, the car literally fell apart on the showroom floor, and it costed way more than it was expected to cost. The Canadian government actually funded this disaster, and when the whole thing collapsed, they lost millions, and Bricklin only lasted 2 years. So yeah, the SV1 was a safety car, just not for your bank account. The Studebaker Avanti is one of those what could have been stories. It was sleek, it was fast, it was built to save a dying company, and it failed. Studebaker was in trouble by the early 60s, their lineup was outdated and the big three were crushing them. So they built the Avanti, a fiberglass body, Raymond Loewy designed Grand Tourer with a supercharged V8 that could hit 170 miles per hour. Problem was they rushed it into production. Fiberglass issues, build delays, and barely any advertising. They promised 20,000 cars and they built 1,200. Studebaker closed its South Bend factory just a year later. The Avanti didn't kill Studebaker alone, but it was their final swing and they missed. Let's talk about the Tucker 48, probably the most tragic story on this list. Preston Tucker was ahead of his time. His car had disc brakes, seat belts, a rear engine, and a center-mounted headlight that turned with the steering wheel. That stuff didn't show up in mainstream cars for another 20 years. The problem, he scared the big dogs. Rumor says the big three, Ford, GM, Chrysler used their influence to shut him down. The SEC investigated him for fraud even though he was acquitted. By the time the smoke cleared, his company was bankrupt. Only 51 Tuckers were ever built. Was the Tucker 48 a bad car? Not at all, but it's proof that being too innovative can be just as dangerous as being boring. Here's a more modern one, the Saturn Ion. Saturn started as GM's big hope in the 1990s, a new kind of car company. No haggle pricing, plastic body panels, and a strong brand identity. People loved it at first, and then the Ion came along. Instead of pushing Saturn forward, the Ion was built on a cheap GM platform with a clunky interior and an instrument cluster in the center of the dash for no reason. It was bland, forgettable, and it screamed cost-cutting. Customers noticed, sales tanked, and Saturn started fading away. By the time GM pulled the plug in 2010, nobody was surprised. The Ion wasn't the killer, but it sure helped dig the grave. Packard was once a serious luxury brand. They built limos for presidents, their cars oozed prestige, but by the 1950s, they were losing the plot. Enter the Packard Predictor, a concept car with wild styling and futuristic features. Packard hoped it would lead to a new line of cutting-edge luxury cars, but the company didn't have the money, the factories, or the customers anymore. Their merger with Studebaker drained resources even further, and when they did build new models based on the Predictor, they were basically just rebadged Studebakers. Sales collapsed, Packard died quietly in 1958. Turns out when your vision of the future is 90% recycled parts, customers notice. Some of these cars were terrible, some of these cars were great, but launched at the worst possible time, and some were just way too ahead of their time for the world to keep up. But in every case, these weren't just flops, they were the cars that put the nail in the coffin. So next time you see a car that looks a little too weird or a company that makes one risky move too many, you might be looking at the next name on this list. Which car do you think was the biggest company killer of all time? Or better yet, which car should have flopped but somehow survived? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this, drop a like, hit that sub, and I will see you next time. Peace.